Good evening. I am Bernice. I'd like to welcome all from the International Association of Theater Critics. Thank you for coming to our activity, the last case study. We have Mr. Chen Fai to share his observations about China mainland. Actually, for the past while, he has been involved in metaverse and performing arts and the relationship between the two. Mr. Chen Fai is actually an expert in arts and technology. He is also the founder of artXmetaverse. Actually, I'm going to give the floor to our moderator, Zheng Yaozheng, performing arts critic in Taiwan and core contributor of Volume DAO. So he is the most knowledgeable about this. Now the floor is yours. Chen Fai will have about 40 minutes to present. Thank you, Bernice. I am Yaozheng. Can you hear me? I will start the session. I am from Taiwan. In the past few years, I have been working on performing arts critic, and I have wrote some of the articles about NFT. We also have a DAO, Volume DAO, and we also have expositions, encrypted art, and how to put them in the reality. I am not the main performer today. I am the facilitating. Mr. Chen Fai, I actually have gone through the material that he will present today. Is really rich in content, not bluffing. We have a lot of people talking about NFT, DAO, and just attract a lot of attention. If you listen to project, but Mr. Chen Fai not only have observed about DAO, but also the blockchain technology and concept are combined in theater, in stage, and also about the archiving and documentation. This can be interrelated with blockchain. Without further ado, Mr. Chen Fai will talk to about 9:40 or 9:45. And the rest of Mr. Chen Fai, the floor is yours. Thank you. Thank you, Yaozheng. Please share the screen. Can you see the screen? Yes. Yes, we can. We will actually talk about the DAO of performing arts. And we would like to talk about a decentralized future of recording or documentation. But our moderator said that I'm not bluffing, but some of the material is still my own opinions, my own ideas, my own opinions to share with all of you. In 2022, in December, I actually read about an article, an interview of the co-founder of Tesos. Tesos is an encrypted currency company. The market value is 900 million USD. She said that a lot of the DAO and Web3 projects are decentralized theater. And she said that most of the decentralized autonomous organizations failed, and that reminded her of her middle school, because middle schools is full of really crappy school projects. She said that the failure of a Web3 and the DOA is just like a failing school projects, because she said that the surface and the inside is different for Web3 for DAO. But for myself, I am actually very passionate about the future of the Web3 DOA. Although my middle school projects were also crappy, but didn't like her. I didn't like how she mentioned about it, but she's actually very factful. So this decentralized theater is all about the gap between an ideal and reality. We have been talking about DOA for many times. She mentioned about theater, so I would like to start with performing art. There are a few keywords about our discussion. DAO is not about one technology. Metaverse is not one technology. Web3 is not one technology. Blockchain is a technology. The other three are all combinations. So DAO is like a concept of a human organization, is a methodology. It is related to a lot of technology like blockchain. These keywords are very important to our future, but I will not go into too much details because I believe in the past presentations and the previous presenters probably have talked about this already. But actually, we don't really have a single authoritative definition of those keywords. These are all very new. And a lot of people do not have a full comprehension of these keywords. All of this are evolving, are changing day after day. So we cannot really fix the definition. And each person has their different values, has their interests and their own understanding and interpretation. So we know vaguely about what we are talking about, but it's just like the blind and the elephant. The object is very enormous, it's huge. So it's very difficult to have a whole understanding of the whole thing. You cannot really make a comprehensive judgment. And definition at this stage, we think that it can be important and maybe it's not that important, because the definition is like a verb. To give it a definition is not very accurate. The name is not that accurate. But then it has to work around this definition, just like the people. When you have a name, then you kind of work with this name. So that was a pre-word. Now let's talk about the DAO of performing arts. I would like to talk about the performing arts, the traditional paradigm. Peter Book said this. You probably have already known this. He said this famous quote, and this is the essence of theater art. This is very wide. I think one empty space, one person passing by, one person looking at it, this is a theater. So as we can see, there are 4 elements, one paired. One performer, one audience, same location, same time. So these 4 elements compose the theater. This is quite simple, but it's still quite mainstream. For over 3,000 years, this is what we have. But with the new technology, this kind of understanding may be changed. Maybe we have to rethink. Maybe we need a new perspective. Maybe we need to expand what we have. And maybe we end up with different results and different opportunities. I will just touch upon this a little bit without going into too much deeper. Life is a very good word in English, but very difficult to translate into Chinese. Life is like a performing arts. We can say that this is the presence, you are on site, so people are all present here, both the performer and the audience. Traditionally speaking, theater is an ephemeral art. It is something that cannot be repeated. We cannot physically store it. We cannot physically document it. So it's also an art of a time because it can only be there for one time. And maybe the same people, the same show, but every time, every performance is unique. And it cannot be repeated. So theater does not have a physical state. So the theatrical work cannot be really documented or stored. So there's the performers, the dancers, the musicians. We cannot really store them in fixation, but we can record them. But not everyone agree with what I said. Because the people say that this is a myth, but it's not so. But I will not go into too much details. Because the theatrical work, there is no physical state. If we cannot store it, how can we record it? We cannot store it or keep it like a painting. We need to record it. How do we record it? Maybe this is not a question. Historically, this is just like that. In the history, the minute has gone by. You cannot really keep that history. You can only record it. You can only interpret it about the past events. All you can do is you use other methodologies to record. And history, of course, is a discipline. First, the historian, we have 2,500 years of the history. So the discipline of history and the recording of history, the history of recording the past is really a discipline. But history does not equal to facts. Herodotus is written by hand. Something written in hand might not be the truth. It could be fiction. It could be invented. It could be misleading. It could be biased. Because the history recording does not really equal to what happened in the past. Library is also a way of a recording. This is an old library. This is in Iraq. 2,000, 3,000 years of the history, recording the human history with the space to record human history. So the record of a performing art is also part of human beings wanting to record the history. It's part of the thing that we want to record.
For the documentation of performing arts, there are different keywords. For example, archive, documentation, information, data, and memory. For the theater archive, documentation. There are so many people doing this work. For example, in the U.S. Theater Archives Project, ASTR 的一个项目。For performing arts, the record of it is not a very new. It's not a new subject nor a particularly difficult one. For Hong Kong, for Chinese, for the performing arts records in China, it's not very valued. For 50 or 40 years ago, there were not very good social economic conditions for it. For the marketization and for the focus of marketization, the performing arts has never become the mainstream. For dancing and theater, compared with the movies and popular music, is very niche. For the performing and in music, the value of it is not very high. I have seen some of the performing arts music organization. For example, Chinese Music History Museum is in Xi'an, inside the campus of Xi'an University of Architecture and Technology. It was opened in 2008. All collections are owned by one person called Tian Fang. Tian Fang have collected over 1,000 artifacts, and currently half of it is on display. For Shanghai Symphony Orchestra Museum, it was opened 2017, and all the collection mainly comes from the Shanghai Symphony Orchestra and Shanghai Academy of Music. And in the inside the museum, there are important works from important composer and conductors of China. About the Shanghai Drama Museum is inside the Shanghai Drama Academy, and it receives support and donations from predecessors and experts in the art world. The Drama Museum have faced a very actual problem of running because of the shortage of funding and shortage of professionals, and also lack of society's focus. And there are very few people who are concerned about the museum, and it was the problem in the past and also at present. For contemporary theater museum, there is no. But in Beijing, there is a People's Art Drama Museum. It's a local collection of it. For the dancing museum, there's no. But in 2010, there was a reporting that in Shanghai, they have the condition and the need to establish one dancing museum. But after 13 years, there's none in the whole country. For dancing, dancing is very niche performing arts in China. This probably is the newest and the biggest museum. Is the Chinese Opera Museum in Kunshan. This probably is the most comprehensive collection of the Chinese opera information, and it is set to be completed at the end of this year, but usually it will have delays. You can see in the introduction there are different focuses. They have the immersive experience and also different settings. If travel is a function and it is a focus, the cultural and performing arts will be the second focus. And it is the outdoor portion of it, and it is a very it is just like the park near my house. This design is very average, but you can see this inside the photo. There's a cosplay person. Probably it will be very popular to have cosplay activities to be organized in this park. Probably some Japanese comics or Hollywood characters or some Chinese characters. For the museum, this will be the highest standard in China. On the size and the collection and all the dramas, all the collections related to drama and the Chinese opera will be collected in there. And this is the highest national standard constructed museum. And this is very important for people who have the hobby as interest in Chinese opera. And this is the open notice for collection, and they have the different law and regulations on the collection and the protection of historical artifacts. And this is the way they openly for 8 months they have collected more than 500 artifacts. And there are so many people who are collecting different artifacts, but they are not willing to donate. And this is another case study. It's a dancing academy. A stage. This is a thesis about about dancing the database, big data. And this is it is about, and it is not very thorough research, but they have provided some of the data and about the collection in the dancing stage art, and have some recommendations on the building of this dancing art database. And it's recommended the marketing, but it is not, but haven't mentioned about the management of it. I have a feeling that the researcher have a precondition that this kind of museum cannot earn money as no market for it, and need rely on the government subsidy. And this is the categorization of the collections. And it's mentioned something very interesting for NKI is the national knowledge infrastructure. This concept is worthwhile for us to think about for performing arts and the other kind of arts documentation for nationally supported art form, and the ownership and the usage of it, and how we should build the system of it. This is not an area that I'm expert in, but it is very interesting. We come back to the DAO, DAO, the recording on documentation using DAO, but in China there is no example. for it. The DAO as far as I know, there is no people using DAO to document or record performing arts. Probably somebody has done it, but at least I haven't heard about anything about it from my friend or from my circle of influence and also online. It seems that nobody is doing this kind of work. But in drama and music and also opera, production of visual arts, I can see some DAO. I think somebody have been thinking about it, but haven't been completed yet. For performing arts records, there is no people using DAO. It's very strange. We can look into how the DAO in China looks like. For me, 2 years ago, I was very interested in metaverse. I thought it will be the engine for the future. So I have put much effort and time to take part in the discussion. There are so many applications, new applications, and for DAO, it is my interest is the biggest. There is a new way of organization of human being. It probably will replace the 1,000 years of mainstream way of organizing people. DAO is a preconception of the preconception. This is in metaverse, in the racetrack of metaverse, cryptocurrency, NFT, immersive experience, AI, for these very popular topics in the past 2 years. But DAO is still very, very niche, not much news about it and not many results of the experiments. So for the market consideration, it is not implemented into the daily life of people. But this is the preconception, although it's preconception, but there are many new DAO system from media, from factories, from investors. There are many people who are looking in DAO. In China, DAO, there are not many. There is one C DAO. This might be the forefront DAO in China. The first news for C DAO is in 2021 December. Almost there are nothing constructed, but it's only a very small group of internal discussion from without any new work done for two months. From 2 months, they have seven investors from with 200 million RMB of investment have received. It's very strange that it is not even a company. This is only a community, and with nothing have done, with no product, and already have investors invested. But this kind of investors are very pioneering. It is not even considered as a business because there are no ways of earning income. But for the investors, they are very early investors that might have very good return on investment later on. But
at the beginning, it is considered a incubator of the DAO. But after a lot of evolution, after 1 year, it is actually a Web3 digital city-state. And the definition of this Web3 digital city-state, we will continue the discussion maybe next time, but not today. So we have a very in-depth understanding of the DAO. And we learn about the DAO development in many other countries. And we have a lot of communication. So this CDAO has made some rules, just like institutions. So the common policy to organize the structure and to govern the organization. For CDAO, in terms of corporate governance, it has put a lot of the efforts in it. Many things happened, but now we do see it is quite organized. And I think they are quite at a high level. A lot of online, offline activities are being organized, and many of the online virtual activities, they also organize physical face-to-face interactions in other parts of the world. It has 10 unions. Unions is like a specialty committee. It's not a traditional company. For a traditional company, you have a department like production, manufacturing, HR. But for CDAO, these kind of unions are based on interests. So maybe you are interested in, say, translation, then you can join the union of a translation. You can translate articles and publish these articles. So this is like a voluntary to see what kind of interest you have, and then you can participate in that union. There are 7 important projects like Meta Shanghai. Meta Shanghai, no significant progress. So this is like a metaverse in Shanghai. When it came out, I thought that there is no future to it. And now CDAO has a lot of online activities. They just finished their recruitment. They try to recruit city liaisons like in Shanghai, in Beijing. It's not like hiring people, but it's more like a short-term positions in rotation. So they recruit these city liaisons. Of course, there are some compensation, but it's not like a monthly salary. It's of course different from traditional company. This is an offline gathering, very happy gathering, very young people. This is the incubation team, very relaxed, very pleasant environment. So as you can see, DAO is about how young people see how the world will evolve into the future. Decentralized, autonomous, being very flat, non-bureaucratic, seeking something that the traditional companies cannot provide. This is like a utopia or some ideal world. But maybe that's a bit far. Some people working on DAO, they know that we're here for the money. They think this is a new way to make money. It's not about utopia. It's not about ideal. It's just money making. But of course, a lot of other people, they want to have they want to pursue a new civilization. So if you are willing to look at this article, then you can search this on Google. So CDAO, this article about CDAO, in 11 months, it has been to 4 downturn. And a lot of companies will go bankrupt, say in a year. But CDAO has gone through ups and downs. This is very interesting. CDAO is very transparent, I think. Internal, we have seen some of the articles to talk about the internal things that has happened inside the company. A lot of companies, they will not reveal that kind of information, but for CDAO, it is very transparent. I think this is a very good case study. And if you are interested, you can take a look at this article. It takes about half an hour to finish it. CDAO is very unique and very special, but it is not about the recording of a performing art. So let me share with you another case study. It's not a case study of a theater, but it's more relevant. That is, use DAO to write a book. This is another community called the MixLab. CDAO and MixLab, these two organizations, the founders are all based in Shanghai. So I met them a long time ago. CDAO and the MixLab is virtual on the web. But to meet in physical locations, a lot of times it feels more pleasant than online meetings. MixLab is not DAO, it's a community. It has been about 50,000 people from different industries, from different disciplines, from different technologies. We have AI engineers, programmers. So a lot of people, a lot of different people are involved. Very young people. A lot of people that I know, they are less than 30 years old. I am probably the oldest among them. As you can see, this is the exploration. This is the white paper for MixLab. All of the internal information are all transparent. Deauthorization, decentralization, non-disciplinary, experimental. It's not DAO, it's a community, but it's actually very DAO-oriented, based on DAO values. For this community, they emphasize on innovation and cross-disciplinary experiment. So for this lab, a lot of people from different backgrounds, they have different skills and expertise. So this is the cross-disciplinary experiments. As you can see, there are the emerging disciplines. This is a very frontier, not like a traditional disciplines. Future careers. Many of these future careers are not existent now because the new technology will bring on those new positions. And I am a column writer, although I don't write too much columns. I didn't write too much articles. A year ago, this is a metaverse symposium that they created. One person speaks for 1 hour. So this is like a presentation marathon. It is quite fun. As you can see, this is a symposium. These are some of the topics involved in the presentation marathon. More technology related, future related, cross-disciplinary topics. we have over 50,000 community members. A lot of people are strangers. Strangers will meet, then they communicate, they exchange, and then they start with some project. And some of the projects become successful. They find the fundings. And the community members are co-creators. They do online working together. They can write a book. There are commercial activities, and investors can invest. So the identity of you in the community depends on what you want to be. A lot of people are generalized the creator, not only arts, but also programming, engineering, development of a scientific product. These are all part of the output work. So it's content creation, and content output. So this is community work. It's not DAO itself, but DAO is also one of the exploration areas of a mixed lab. There are new commercial models or business models. Mixed lab is not like a hobby group or amateur club of people who are interested in it. It's actually a business. It has the financial pursuits, and it uses community as an approach. So in this business model, it creates a brand. There are investors involved, and they will also support members to initiate some valuable ideas. CDAO, at the beginning, it has an incubation function. The mixed lab is not incubation, but with the communication, with the exchanges, projects start to emerge. So it's not like an incubator. And in this lab, we have several DAO projects. Youth DAO, Book DAO, for example. This is the Book DAO. This is the key role of my presentation. Using DAO to write a book. Books are actually a way of recording human history. So this is the world's oldest surviving book, the Diamond Sutra, 2,000 years. So for 2,000 years, book and publishing didn't change much until internet comes and we have digital books. That is the one big change. These are the members of a Book DAO. Because now we see some of the challenges of a book. We're not saying that the printed books are losing to the digital books, but it's actually a lot of times the physical bookstores are losing to the digital bookstores online, and a lot of the new technologies are coming, changing the whole environment. Books is a way of recording history, storation, and broadcasting approach. But now, the way that the information is presented is very different. It goes beyond the traditional book. So this is the challenge that we face.
The Book DAO,
The Book DAO, the
in
Tsinghua Publishing
University. This is the flowchart of the traditional publishing process. It is, but this is quite simple. From the author to write the book, and then sign the contract, and then one by one to the publisher. In China, must be published books must be published by publisher because they need the special number for publishing. But different from the traditional way of publishing, from using DAO to publish a book, from the author of the book is publicly recruited, and the keyword will be the authorization and interchange and exchange of ideas. These usually books is not an open. Digital books is a little bit more open. If it is a printed book, you can't change the edition if it is printed. Authority is the editor and the author. The value of the books depend on the author and the editor. But if we in DAO, book DAO, the book is a ever growing diagram. This is not a physically stable object. It is an ecosystem which grow organically, and this system will have everlasting changing. We can think about in future what publisher will publish in DAO. This is not an organization with the aim of publishing a book. But in the past, the publisher is very simple to publish book in magazine. But in the future, in the future, the publisher will probably publish knowledge, and for traditional publisher, they will not define their purpose like this. So book DAO project is an experimental and new community ecosystem. It is for publisher and for publishing, and this practically how we can go forward. It is nobody knows, and it is for traditional publisher. There are tens of thousands of successful cases. This is a timeline for pathway for book DAO. There is no editor or the boss to decide the path. For book DAO, all the members, they are openly recruited. So for anyone who are interested, they can join the discussion and on the experiment and decide the topics and design of the books. There are different groups responsible for different parts, and almost for 4 months or so, we have weekly co-create the projects, and we have project meetings. We have debate. We have the content co-create debate. Usually we have the verbal discussion, and it's recorded and will be recorded, archived. For this kind of information in any kind of organization or company, this kind of progress meeting, 2 or 3 hours discussion. but for the internal information and the recording of the meetings, it is the knowledge. This kind of knowledge. It is the product of creativity. And it's put into the database, can be sold to members as benefits and resources. So this is a very new concept. Internal work progress records can be a product itself. And this is a new initiative to be brought about by DAO. And this is when it's put into the knowledge should be paid. So and during meeting or performance, everything it is the creation of knowledge, and this kind of knowledge have values, and it's possible to be sold, and people will pay money to get it too. So no matter it's internal meeting, discussion, but this interchange of information. If there's some value in it, then somebody wants it, and you can sell it. So the production of content and the creativity and the people, and from different scenarios, then people will create value and sell the creation. And you can say any product can earn money. So this is the content of this book, and we have different people who are writing and contributing to the content. It is about metaverse, NFT, AIGC, and DAO, and also metaverse, creative industry, and also people's relation to metaverse. And this is our digital magazine for our members, and also our committee members can get access to it. And this is for open for social medias. For the editing of this book, we have simultaneously have workshops. Some of the workshops, some hosted by content contributors, editors, and we have members free of charge. And for members, we will charge. It's not very cheap. For members are not referring to the contributors. It's actually the other people who are interested and willing to pay for the membership fee. So for this, for the people who are contributing to the to be a membership, if you join earlier, it is cheaper. If you join later on, it will be more expensive. For this kind of membership fee is also this crowdfunding. We have some NFT distributed to members, and in the community there is a paid products. We have a vast amount of information and documentations, and people can buy with discount and also other benefits. this is very different from publishing printed books. This is an economy system. For a published book, publisher asked me to write a book, and then after writing the book, I got the author fee and also the royalty. That's it. But in DAO, this is a more complicated ecosystem. In the ecosystem, there is inside the system, there is the dividends of system for different people who have contributed to this project. They have an NFT badges for different people with different levels of benefits, which will be divided among the contributors. For the badges, NFT badges is like an ID card. Mr. Zhang, and now we have very limited time, and we have short of time. Sorry about disturbing your presentation. 2 minutes. For this kind, we have to talk about the income from 600,000 to 1.2 million income. It's not from the royalty, it's from the membership and the other income, but it is quite big income. But this is only planning, as only the hope. So what the reality will become is unknown for us. In the future, even if we have the 600,000, it's not it. Even if the quality of the books is not confirmed yet. This is the last part. DAO is not a book, but we use book is the closest product that DAO can produce. But now we come back to the performing arts. It is a decentralization and co-create and co-establish and sharing. And we have already seen these elements using DAO as documentation of performing arts. This is an open question. We even have no example for it. Creators, economy is key in the DAO. The whole economy system is not using love to generate electricity. So there is an ecosystem inside, including NFT, co-create, contributing, and virtual workplace, and every one of it can be part of the economy system. Okay, let me finish in this here. Thank you, Mr. Zheng. There are the vast amount of information in it, and anyone in the audience have questions? For today, the latest weekend lasts until 10:15. Please ask question. If you have no question, then let me ask the first question, or to if you are not convenienced to speak, You can type your question in the chat box.
If you have questions, then you can leave a message in the chat box. But as the moderator, I have the privilege to ask questions. You spent some time about the book DAO. And the book that is being released, let's not talk about the process of creating that book. Organizational wise, this is the recruited, not like a publishing company. The format will be PDF, is that correct? Then it's not really an NFT book. In fact, what is the output of a book DAO? And the second question that I have is, DAO in different countries, we don't have any legal basis. It's not a traditional social organization or community. It's kind of an entity. How to face legal issues, because our theme is related to metaverse. A metaverse might not include the blockchain, but we need the wallet. Everyone has a wallet, and with the number of votes, we are going to decide this DAO, this unconventional publishing company. It has to spend money or it has to collect money. Then the community has to decide collectively. Then when will this money collecting or money spending happen on this chain? So these are my questions. You can also type your questions into the chat box. This is the Tsinghua publishing company, and that has invited this book DAO to create this book. So this book can be printed. So this contract is with the Tsinghua publishing company. So Tsinghua publishing company asks book DAO to work on this book, and then Tsinghua Publishing Company will print it and then release it and then sell it. So people who are involved will get the royalties and will get the book of assets. So this is actually a traditional book. I believe they are still discussing about this digital part, because for the physical book, you cannot change it after it has been published. But digital books, theoretically, you can still edit it every day, add in more information, materials, update the data. But traditional publishing companies like a Tsinghua Publishing Company, a mainstream traditional company, for the paper book, the sales of the paper book, your content cannot be sold. If digital books can be updated every day, nobody's going to buy those physical books. So this is kind of, there is conflicts involved, but these two organizations are working together to see how that works out. Your second question, laws and regulations. I was going to talk about Shadow. Shadow is the co-founder of MixLab. His number is 001, so he is the founder. MixLab is not a company, but there are over 50,000 members. Everyone becoming members, you have to fill out a form to provide that information, your personal information. Otherwise, we cannot let you in without knowing your information. So we have to give you a number and you have to provide your information.
But
it's not an organized company. There is no really a system to safeguard the personal information that you have provided to the organization. So what they do is everyone who wants to enter this community, all the information are given to Shadow personally. There is no HR department. It is not given to the HR department or membership department. All the information are given to Shadow. So the personal information are all given to Shadow. So this information will not be used to do some bad deeds. So this is really original. There is no really governance or laws or rules to manage all the privacy of the members. But this is the only way. This is the only approach. But we don't really have an effective alternative. The third question I cannot answer. I don't think they have gone that far yet. For BookDAO, is the NFT part, which is related to the Mix Lab. If you go to all the activities of BookDAO, or if you have activities of a Mix Lab, you become a member and you will be involved in the activities. But for the Mix Lab, similar to BookDAO, if you're a member, you can participate in several workshops for free, and you have all kinds of rights and privileges. But technology-wise, wallet-wise, I think they are still analyzing, they are still exploring. BookDAO is making steady progress. They have a series of a system. Unlike CDAO, it has set up all the rules and regulations. All the rules and regulations are already in place. BookDAO is like crossing the river, touching the stones. And they start a conversation when they encounter some events. And they need some time to complete that infrastructure and planning. So we cannot address this issue right away. For the digital content, we still need to work on it. And also the profit sharing part, we also need to improve it. Thank you, Mr. Chen Fai. Any questions? Maybe not BookDAO related, because we are talking about performing arts, we are talking about documentation, archiving, museum. Any questions from the audience? Bernice, can I ask a question? Actually, I would like to know that in China mainland, for performing arts or relevant culture, people who are involved in performing arts, if they want to be involved in such a community or about this technology, are they embracing this kind of community technology, or are they hesitating? Because I'm not too sure. Law, the regulations we have talked about, and a lot of things are going on in China mainland, and it's actually very different in China mainland. So for those people involved and for those people who are interested in involving, what are their thinkings or what are their mindsets? For the people that I know, very little people who are interested. To be honest, for metaverse, for people who are interested in metaverse, interested in Web 3.0, Very few. I am being conservative, but I don't see anyone who are interested in DAO. I don't know anybody who's in the actors, dancers, producers, performers who are interested in DAO, who are really interested in DAO, and who has been experimenting, or someone who initiate a DAO script. I've never heard of such things. So people involved in this discipline, we don't know. Or maybe someone is working on that secretly, but I don't know. So for the people that I know in the performing arts industry, dancers, actors, I don't know someone who's really interested in it. But if we talk about AI, big data, all of those are new technology, the art circle or the performance art circle, they are very far from all those new technology. The majority of the people, they are not aware of new technology. They're not interested. But because of these past 2-3 years, they cannot perform live. So a lot of online performances, a lot of online activities were staged. So many more people are doing online performance. But now that everyone can perform offline, then nobody wants to do it online because it's very difficult to sell tickets online. So I think the art circle, or maybe the performing arts circle, I believe they are quite, they are not that aware of DAO yet. If we talk about entertainment, if we talk about tourism and culture related, virtual world, AI, VR, they will obviously apply them. They will obviously have this kind of a gala, a performance, a show. They can use that technology. They will apply that technology to show that they are at the most front line. They are at the edge. But if we look at those stage, theater, performing arts, people involved, they are not starting any DAO projects from my perspective. But now I see that the government, the central, the provincial, they are promoting metaverse, Web 3.0, but a lot of money goes to, say, entertainment, culture, tourism. They got a lot of money. But performing arts, they don't get much money. With so little money, what they can do? If you want to dance with a robot, but if you want to dance with a good robot, but it's going to be very expensive. Probably none of the companies can provide this for free. So how are you going to use this technology? You don't know it, you don't know much it, you don't have the money, the government is not providing you with the money, and it's not selling tickets, then obviously it's difficult for the performing art circle to really dwell into this DAO. I think metaverse, blockchain is the cross-region, is the international. We have done some research for blockchain. The ecosystem of blockchain is very different. China mainland. It's not really like Ethernet or Hazels. Tezos was being mentioned by Mr. Chen Fai. We have been surfing on Tezos. And China mainland has an alliance chain. All the Web3 users, the wallet, government has the information of all the wallets. So for this blockchain, for this big framework, China is forked. China mainland is being forked. It's not a real normal situation of a blockchain, the natural development of a blockchain. So we really cannot really comment on the Web3. We cannot really comment on the phenomena of the Web3 development because a lot of things are the weapons of the government. But AI is developing quite rapidly in China mainland. So I will stop here for the summary. This is also to respond a little bit to Mr. Chen by, of course, the ideals are very ideal, but the reality is not that much ideal. So I give the floor back to Bernice. Thank you, Mr. Chen Fai. Thank you, Yousheng. Thank you, Yousheng, for moderating this session. And we have completed our activity. Later on, you will probably be interested in operating some of the wallets and the NFT workshops. At the end of March, we have another presenter, Gao Chongqian, to share with you to actually activate the wallet, to enter the technology and to immerse yourself in that activity. We have opened up a registration, so you can take a look at our website, our IATC website. Thank you all. I would also like to thank all of our audience. Tonight, we have provided you with a lot of information for you to explore. Just like Mr. Chen said, we are exploring into the future. Thank you all. Goodbye.